Chroma Jess Rose. Let me just sort this lighting out a little bit. There we go. How are we all on this Thursday evening? If you're watching tomorrow, why aren't you here? Why aren't you here on our live? I'd love you to join us. Just before, while I'm waiting for people to join, if you'd like to join my Patreon, it's patreon.com/JessRose5472. Or if you'd like to like, comment and subscribe to this account, I would love that. We're just going to wait for a few people to join us, so you don't realise I'm crazy. I'm not talking to myself. So we're just going to wait for a few, and then we'll get started. How are we all out there? Hope we're all okay. Hey Phil, happy Jess Rose Day. Hey Hayley, how are we? How we doing? Oh, this is unusual that Tiffany's not the first. That's unusual. How are we all on this Thursday evening? Are we okay? Is Kelly here? Yeah, I want to know how her daughter is. See how she is now. But it's nearly the weekend. We're nearly there, people. We've nearly made it. Oh no, you've lost your voice. Oh no. Is that from a cold or coughing or which is gone? It's gone. At least it means like you don't have to talk to anyone. You can just point. Get me that. That's what I'd use it for. Hey P, how you doing? Yeah, that's what I'd use it for. How's it going? I thought you were Dad for a second. You caught me then. Yeah, we'll hang on a couple of minutes. We'll see where Tiff is. She's not like her to be late. Hey Warwick, how are you? You're going to cause us trouble this evening? Is that what you're here for? To cause us trouble? Hey Kelly, I was just talking about you. How's your little girl? Hope she's okay. She feeling any better? I've got to admit, my daughter's still not. And after I spoke to you on Tuesday, hey Tiff, I was wondering where you was. After I spoke to you on Tuesday, Kelly, I actually tried to get my little girl into the doctor's yesterday and today. And no, I've got to try again tomorrow. Can't even get her in. Absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare at the minute. But how is your daughter? I hope she's okay. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I'm gonna do me. See, I've had to do a booth on tonight because obviously because the forehead's sweating, and I've decided to wear a baggy jumper. Still feeling so good. Right, it's normally I noticed the last, say, 24, 48 hours, you really notice that the antibiotics are actually working. So I'll keep my fingers crossed. I really hope. I can't believe she's still coughing. That's awful. Everyone, there is another family member on here this evening. Say hello to Patrick. This will be a brother of ours. So yes, say hi. Introduce yourselves. How are we? Right, okay. You've sent me where did you send them to me, Kelly? Is it Facebook? If it is, nightmare. I'm on there. I haven't seen it. I'll have a look when I come off here, Kelly. Oh, right, okay. I'll have a look when I come off. I'll have a look. Oh, it's just awful, isn't it? You'd love to take it off them, wouldn't you? Just so they don't have to go through it. Every night I hear about. I've actually been giving her a bit of my inhaler though, and see how that goes. She slept a little bit better last night, but not great. So I'm going to see if I can get her in the doctor's tomorrow. Right, but we're gonna. Oh, thank you, Kelly. They are a waste of time. They're an absolute nightmare. It drives me crazy. I hate having to call them. For an appointment. You can guarantee it's going to be, yeah, we haven't got any today. No chance of her trying that, Kelly. No chance in a million years. She's very like my son. You can't. It took me about 3/4 of an hour just to get her to have a puff of the inhaler last night. It's a whole long thing. She's an absolute nightmare. Even if it means it will get her better. Never seems to. I just can't get get her to do that. Just about get her to have some cowpole. Absolute nightmare. Except when my son's ill, and then she'll have the cowpole. What's that about? But as soon as they're ill, no, I don't want it. It's crazy. Yeah, I have to pin them down, literally pin them down. It's for your good. I'm doing it for you. I'm trying to help you. Right. Okay. So we're going to start. If you're watching tomorrow, I'm going to start the story now. Hope you're all okay. All ready for me to start. Oh, do you know what? Let me tell you a little bit about this one. It wasn't the story I was going to do. It wasn't the story I got ready. But I hadn't got all the information I needed for the other one. So I've noticed this one for a while. I'd watched the trial and things like that. And it's just, I'm not going to spit this time. But yeah, it's just as bad. It's just as bad. It's awful. I will give you all a warning. It is a child. So, but I've got to share it with you because I was so frustrated learning about this case, and I thought I've got to share it with them so you can be frustrated with me. Okay, are we ready are we okay to start? Let's give it a go. Right, Mitzi seems to be on one this evening, so if you see me doing this, she's messing about. She'll make an appearance in a second, I've no doubt. Okay, right. So as I put on the title, it's the heartbreaking Judah Morgan story. Oh, and it is. Oh, and it is. It's just horrific, horrible story. Just such a shame. Such a gorgeous, gorgeous boy. Right, okay. So we've got Judah Marshall Morgan, who was born on the 17th of June, 2017, in LaPorte, Indiana, US. Oh, hi, Natalie. How you doing? Okay, so he's born in LaPorte, Indiana, US. His mom. I'm going to do mom. I might as well just leave my fingers up when I do these stories. I don't know, just leave them up in the air. But his mom, Mary Yoda, and his dad, Alan Morgan. Okay. Now, Mary and Alan, ugh, God, they'd had a real violent, drug-fueled relationship anyway, long before Judah came into the picture. And Alan had been arrested for domestic violence way back in 2012. They were just a horrible pair. If you want to go away and have a look at their pictures, oh my God. You know, when just by looking at a picture, you want to get like a hose and clean them. It's that kind of just awful looking pair. I know it seems like I'm really judgmental, but when you know the story and then you see them, you're just like, ugh. You just, just a horrible couple. So yeah, they were, they had a child before Judah, okay? And that's why DCFS, which is the equivalent of like our social services, involved in the family's life, due to the abuse and neglect allegations of Judah's older brother before Judah come into it was even born. And he was about 3 at that time. So DCFS, I promise you by the end of this story, you're going to be just as angry at them as you are with the parents, if not more. You know, very like Gabriel Fernandez and all the other stories we've done over the years where social services here or DCFS in America have been involved. It's so frustrating. Okay. So Judah, as I said, he was born on the 17th of June, 2017. So when he was born, like as soon as he was born, he was taken away. He was taken away from Mary and Alan, which was the right thing to do. obviously. She didn't even get to hold him. He was just whisked away. Um, excuse me. He had THC in his system anyway. And obviously with their history, it was the right thing to do. And now for about 4 months, he was in the foster care system. Now, there was a second cousin of Judah's, Rowie. So don't know how that works. I presume her parents and Mary were first cousins. That's what I'm assuming. But her name's called Jenna Hullett. Okay, she's like an angel. And when she found, now she was there when he was born, but I don't know if maybe she just wasn't aware of what was about to happen with him. I'm not too sure. I don't know if she knew he was about to be taken off Mary or not. I'm not too sure. It just says she was there when he was born. Anyway, while he was in the foster care system, he'd been in there for about 4 months when she got wind of it. And she was like, give him to me. Give it to me. I'll look after him. I'll take him in. And that's what she did. That's what she did. And she had 3 children of her own. She had a husband. I don't know his name, and I don't know the 3 children's name. It's not needed, but I'm presuming they've been kept out of it for obvious reasons. But she did have a family of her own. And they just took him in and treated him as like one of their own kids. And if you see the pictures of this little boy, just a gorgeous looking, the cutest little fella. And there's a lot of videos of him as well. Very clever, really intelligent little lad he was. He used to, in the videos you see him, and it was said that no matter who he'd meet, like while he was out shopping or at the park or wherever, he'd always said, "Hey, dude," to anyone who came along. And in the videos you see him going, "Baba, Baba," or no, sorry, "Baby." Very, very cute. And cheese, when he was getting a photo or the video was being recorded, just adorable and very intelligent, really, really clever little boy. Loved movie nights with the family, and he loved popcorn, and just a fun-loving little toddler, just gorgeous. And honestly, once I've finished the story, you might not want to, but if you do, and you do go away and see the videos, you'll see exactly what I mean. He was just adorable, gorgeous little lad. But it's not that kind of channel, is it? As we all know now. So that's not where it's going to end, is it? So we come up to November 2020, and he's about 3.5 at this point. Ugh, God. So DCFS, in all their genius knowledge that they have, decided that they wanted to reunite this little boy who doesn't even know these people. These people, his so-called parents, are strangers to him. He doesn't know them, and they want to reunite the family. I have heard it said time and time again, and I've no doubt that there are families out there that have, for whatever problems they've had when, with their children, they can get themselves straight and they can get their children back. I'm not saying that's not a thing. I'm not saying that once you lose your children, that's it, or, all bets are off, it's over. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it seems that I'm coming across these cases a lot where DCFS are involved, or in this country, social services, they're involved in the family. And for whatever reason, they always seem to make the wrong call. So, and again, let me just say before anyone comes at me, I understand they're under a lot of pressure. you know, a lot of the times they've got a lot of children that they're looking after. I get all of that. I honestly do. I'm just saying it seems to be happening a lot lately from what I'm seeing. Okay, so like I say, we come up to November 2020. He's about 3.5. They've decided they want to reunite him with his parents, and I believe he's got other siblings. Again, the other siblings, with regards to his own siblings, they're not mentioned a lot either. So I'm assuming all the kids involved in this case are just being, there's a complete blanket put over them. You know, we're not going to know anything about them. And I understand that. I understand why, you know, their names would want to be kept out of the newspapers and the public eye and everything else. I get that. So what they did was, over the next, say, 6 months, 5, 6 months, they would allow Mary and Alan to come to Jenna's home and collect Judah, you know, for a few hours here, a few hours there. I don't believe it was overnight, certainly not straight away, but it was a way of, yeah. Mitzi's playing up. If you can hear her, but actually, bear with me 1 minute because she's not going to stop, so bear with me. Do you want to go upstairs? Go on then. Go on then. Go on. Go on. There we go. All right, sorry about that, everyone, but she would never have let it go. And she'd have, I've no doubt at some point she'd have started to knock the camera, so I thought I'll nip it in the bud now. So, yes, so the introduction was done very slowly at first, but really, really early on. Jenna would say that he would hold on to her legs because he wouldn't want to go. He wouldn't want to go with them. He'd cry, he'd scream. Even when he was coming home, he would be unsettled for days. He'd be quite upset, he'd be quite angry. You know, it was really messing with this little boy. The fact that he's being reintroduced to his parents, he didn't know them. They were strangers. I mean, I don't know if I mentioned, but he actually he'd got to the point where he was calling Jenna and her partner, her husband, mum and dad. He didn't see these two as his parents. He's a toddler. He all he knows is how he's living at that moment in time. He doesn't know these people. So anyway, he these introductions and these meetings and everything else continue. They continue going, even though he's really unhappy with it. He's really upset. And Jenna would say that when he'd get brought back, he would say to her, shoes off now, mummy, to her, because he would take that they weren't going anywhere. So the only time it kind of calmed down is when she'd take her shoes off. So he'd know they were okay. They were, you know, he wasn't gonna have to see these people for a while. But what started happening then, as the months are going by, he's coming back with bruises. Now, online, I've seen a couple of videos, and there's one where he's on camera and she's going, what did she do to you? So they're all aware of what's going on. They all know what's happening. And he goes, she hurted me. Oh, it's just, he's 3. He's 3. He's a baby. And he's telling anyone who listens, they're hurting me. Well, she's hurting me. Obviously on about Mary's so-called mother. So, okay. So we come up to now, April 2021. All right, so we've been doing this slowly meeting and slowly, what is it? A reunification, I think they call it. If I've got that wrong, I think that's what it's called though. And this has been going on for about 6 months. Um, and now it's come to the point where Jenna's got to hand him over permanently. DCFS, in all their wisdom, have decided, yeah, it's okay. Now, she was telling them, listen, he's coming back bruised. There's something really wrong. They didn't want to know. As far as they were concerned, this was the best thing for him. It's so confusing to me. I just don't get it at all. But April 2021, Jenna and her husband, who Judah calls mum and dad, have to drop Judah off to Mary and Alan. I can't call them his parents. Has to drop him off to them for the last time. That they've got to hand him over. They have to. They have to. So, no. So she doesn't tell Judah. She doesn't tell him that she's not going to come back to him. And I think that's why she was so brokenhearted, because he was basically whispering in her ear saying, I want to go home, outside their house. And she was devastated, but there was nothing she could do. I think what was the story I did that was like the Ellie Mae, oh God, it was one of my very, very early stories. And her grandparents had to do the same with her so-called parents. And I can't imagine what that would do to you, especially if you know you're handing that child over to harm, to basically evil, and you're having to go, off you go. I can't imagine how they must have felt. I really can't. And like I say, Jenna was absolutely brokenhearted, as was her husband. The whole family was. The whole family were absolutely devastated. So, right, upon his return, I'm sorry, I'm getting really hot again. It happens every time. If you're new to the channel, I apologise, but this, for some reason, happens to happen every story, and you see my face going very red and everything else. But I will wear a big jumper when I'm doing these stories, won't I? Okay, so upon his return to his parents, DCFS obviously had ignored all the signs that it had been a terrible idea. Oh, and by the way, no more drug tests. No more drug tests to this couple who drugs have been found in this child's system upon his birth. But no, we don't need to do any drug tests. They're fine. They're great. They're a great family. Let's hand him back. He's just going to be so happy. Sickening. Absolutely sickening, these stories that just drive me through the wall. Drive me through the wall? You know what I mean. So, 2 months after he's been returned to them, which would make it June 2021, DCFS closed the case. They just go, yes, we've done it. Pat on the back, guys. We've rejoined a child to his family. They closed the case. Even after everything Jenna had been saying, they didn't even check on him. They didn't even check before they closed the case that it was okay to close the case. No drug tests, no checking out the house, no checking out the other kids in the house, and no checking on Judah. He'd been there for 2 months at this point. No one had checked on him. No one had got to see him. Oh, this poor child. Okay, now around July the 31st, 2021, so about a month later, Alan was actually arrested He'd been drink driving. I think he'd had drugs as well. And when the police he'd been driving erratically, I believe. And when the police tried to pull him over, he tried to do a runner on them. They caught up with him, but there was nothing done. He was bailed. He was out. He was fine, and because DCFS had closed the case, there was nothing flagged up. This was only a month later, and there was nothing flagged up. Don't forget, these aren't on drugs anymore. These are perfectly fine to look after these children. They didn't. Do you know? I'm lost for words. I'm lost for words on this story. Okay, so we now come up to 3 a.m. on the 11th of October 2021. All right. There's a 911 call made by Mary. And what she says in the call is, Alan got angry and hurt Judah. That's what she says in the call. Alan got a bit angry. Oh, okay. All right. What does that mean exactly? Well, officers turn up. The paramedics turn up and officers turn up, obviously, because she's already said he's got angry, so there's a problem there. So the police turn up with the ambulance or paramedics. I think in America it's like their fire department rather than their ambulance department. It's their fire department that come, turn up to these things. But when the officers walk into that house, oh, it's a hole. It's an absolute hole. There's a smell of urine and feces just as they walk through the front door. I'm assuming you probably smell it from the outside. It was filthy, absolutely filthy. There was rotten food everywhere. There was animal feces all on the floor. It was just a hole. One thing they noticed as they walked in, though, was there was a lock on the fridge. Have you not noticed in these stories, they always lock them fridges, don't they? They do not want their kids to eat. There's just no happiness to be had, even if it's food. Then you're not allowed happiness in these houses whatsoever. There's a malnourished dog in a crate in a corner, thin, on death's door. This is what they're seeing as they're walking in this house. Alan's nowhere to be found, by the way. He's not there. He's disappeared. So as they're walking around the house looking for Judah, they're looking for him because they can't find him. They don't know where he is. So they're looking in each room. Okay. And eventually they find him in a bedroom. He's wrapped in a blanket. But when they open the blanket, this child's naked. He's black and blue. He's absolutely black and blue, and there's blood everywhere. They tried to work on him, but he was already dead. He was already dead. 6 months after being returned to his parents, to the loving arms of his parents. 6 months he lasted. That was it. That's all he lasted. It was quite obvious to the police and the paramedics that he'd obviously been beaten to death. There was other children in the house when they got there. They were all removed at that time. Do you want to know where Mary was? Because you might be thinking to yourself, well, hang on a minute, Alan's gone. They're looking for these kids. Where's Mary? Do you want to know where she was? She was in hospital having a baby. And all I can assume is Alan's phoned her, said, oh, I think I've got a bit carried away. And she's phoned the ambulance from the hospital. She was actually had the audacity to have another child. It just keeps going. It just keeps going. So that's why they were looking for him in the house, because there was no adult there to tell them about this poor child in a bedroom. But do you want to know, that isn't where it had happened, the bedroom. Let me tell you a little bit about what he was going through. A little bit about what Judah was going through while he was in these 6 months, while he was living with his parents. Because at this point, the police have gone, as they're looking around the house, they go down to the basement, okay? And they find out that this is where Judah, I'm presuming one of the kids tells them, is where Judah spends most of his time. And this basement, there's no electricity down there, so it's pitch black. There's no heating, obviously, freezing. And of course, remember I said June 2021 when DCFS closed the case? Don't forget, that would have been his birthday that month. That would have been his birthday. Now, I didn't hear any mention about his birthday. I don't know. I don't even know if he knew. There's nothing been mentioned about his birthday. I just happened to see when I was researching, I was like, hang on a minute, I know he turned 4. And it was the same month they closed the case. Didn't even check how he'd been on his birthday as he turned 4. Okay. So while they're down in the basement, they see like there's old food on plastic plates down there. But when I say old food, it was a bit of banana, a yogurt, like not proper food on plates that he hasn't managed to finish. Just snacks basically on plastic plates that were down there. But what else was down there was duct tape everywhere. Duct tape everywhere. There was some kids' clothing down there. There was duct tape on that. Just duct tape rolled up. Just everywhere. We know where this is going, don't we? So they were very confused. They're trying to pinpoint what's happened. They've got this deceased child. They've got this whole of a house. They've got children who haven't fared much better that they've had to take out of the house. A malnourished dog. And they're like, what is going on? They find security tapes. Do you not notice that they always do this? There's been so many stories I've done where they have cameras in the house. It's always their downfall. I think I only done a story, was it a couple of weeks ago, Sebastian? It's always the cameras. I'm presuming they get the cameras in so they can spy on their kids and so they can see if they're daring to eat. But it's always their downfall, every time. So the police start working through these tapes that from the security cameras. Okay. And what they see on the security cameras is just basically daily, if not every second day, just Judah being beaten black and blue by his dad. And you know where Mum was? Mum, at that time, just watching while her so-called husband is beating the life out of her baby. He was 3 and nearly 4 when he came to them. My heart breaks because I don't even know if he got to. Did he celebrate his birthday? Did he even know he had a birthday? That breaks my heart. And she's just there watching. She's just there watching as her so-called husband is beating this child. And it showed on the cameras that he'd punch him, he'd kick him, he'd strangle him. He'd then be left down in the basement for days in the dark and the cold. Imagine a child. Do you want to know what their excuse was? Yeah. Now, they don't tend to need an excuse in these cases, but do you want to know what their excuse was? He wasn't potty trained. Now, Jenna has already batted that back. She was like, he was potty trained from such a young age. We know that's a sign. That's a sign of trauma and, you know, a child going through a lot if they have been potty trained and then they start wetting the bed on a regular basis again. We know that's a really bad sign. They couldn't see that, though. The parents couldn't see that it was, you know, you're going to beat him for wetting himself. He's going to wet himself again. You're going to beat him again. To be honest, none of that washes with me. They could say that was their so-called reasoning or excuse or whatever they want to, however they want to word it. But it doesn't wash. I don't think it mattered. I think it was just another excuse for them to do what they were doing. I don't think it would have mattered whether he was or he wasn't. For some reason, these were just rotten, awful waste of space, waste of the earth. Ugh. Okay, so we'd come up to, now we know that when the police were called, it was the 11th of October, but obviously they're looking back over the tape, so they come up to the 7th of October, so 4 days before Judah was found dead. And it shows on the CCTV footage that Alan, it shows him striking Judah. He wasn't a big lad as well. I mean, how big could he be at 4? But he was a diddy little thing. Although he did have little chubby cheeks, but he was 4 years old. And it showed him on the 7th of October striking this little boy at least 13 times about the head, punching him, kicking him, before he picked him up by his neck and threw him down into the basement. On October the 8th, so the next day, you might think, oh, they might have just left him. They might have just left him and maybe he passed from there. No. The day after that, he struck at least 15 times and thrown back down into the basement. And while he's down in the basement, he's not sort of allowed to, you know, move around. That's where he's duct taped. That's where he's tied up. That his mouth, his hands. That's where he's tied up. That's why there's all that duct tape down there. So, and it said that sometimes he could be beaten beforehand while he's tied up. Or, I mean, before they tie him up or after they've tied him up. So he was getting beaten where he couldn't even try and defend himself. Not that he could have defended himself, but he couldn't even try. Oh. So on the 8th of October, after he'd been beaten, like I say, he was tied up again, just left scared, alone, down in that basement again. So we come to the 11th of October, and Alan admits that he'd got carried away. That was his wording. What was so-called mum's, Alan got angry and hurt Judah. Daddy says he got carried away, beating Judah, mostly around his head. That's where he took the most of the beating on that day. And it was said that he beat him even after he'd have known Alan, Dad, he'd continued beating his 4-year-old son. This isn't a stepdad, this is a biological father. He continued beating him even after he knew he wasn't breathing anymore. He would have known he was dead, and he still carried on. And then he ran. He must have phoned her, says, oh, by the way, got a bit carried away earlier, so you might wanna get him an ambulance. Or phone the police. Just phone the police. And then he does one. Then he runs. Little Judah Morgan's autopsy it showed that he'd actually died of blunt force trauma. But he'd received a massive frontal brain subdural hematoma. He'd received retroperitoneal hemorrhages, plus a severe brain bleed. The pathologist actually said it was the worst case he'd ever seen, ever in his career. It was the worst thing he'd ever come across. And little Judah, even going through all this, that they weren't happy with that though. Remember I said there was a lock on the fridge. So he was getting starved as well. It wasn't just the beatings. He was getting starved as well. So there was the neglect of that as well. And remember I said he'd had little chubby cheeks. He was down to 2.5 stone. He was 4 years old. And at the time of his death, he was 2.5 stone. He was 36 pounds. That's all he was. Absolute animals. Absolute animals. The one thing about them, I mean, they must have known. I mean, they caught him very quickly. He didn't get far. They got her at the hospital. The one thing about them, I'm assuming maybe they didn't want to go through a trial because they knew they were banged to rights. I'm not too sure, because we know some of them do that. They do put everyone through it. But these two actually pled guilty to their charges. They actually pled guilty. So in August of 2023, so it took a little while, but Mary, she got 42 years. I say every time, the American justice system compared to ours, we've done British stories as well. And, you know, the only thing that would have made this any better was if they'd have got the death penalty. I don't know why they didn't. But she got 42 years. She got 37 years for basically sitting back and watching what was happening to her son. She also got 5 years for the beating of another child. She got 5 years for that. So she was sat around watching. It wasn't just Judah that was going through this. It wasn't just him. There was other kids who were, I believe he was treated the worst, obviously, but the other kids were really getting abused as well. Alan, Dad, he got 63 years for murder. He got 5 years for battery. I'm assuming that's on the other child. And he got 2 years for resisting arrest for him doing a runner. So he got a total of 70 years, because they will run consecutive. You know how here they love to do it concurrent, don't they? So, you know, they only do a very short amount, but it is consecutive, the way they've done it. So the total is he got 70 years, she's got 42. I'm hoping neither of them ever see the light of day. I mean, this is before parole, so, you know, hopefully they'll never see the light of day. I would hope not, anyway. DCFS, you might be wondering, well, what happened with them? You know, I've watched the trial, the weak, just drivelling sap that was the DCFS manager, I believe he was. Just, oh God, he just looks like he should. I don't know where he should be working, but he never should have been in charge of anybody. Certainly not children's cases. I believe he was above the person who was dealing with, or should, sorry, I take it back, should have been dealing with Judah. Okay. But he was just a driveling sap. I've got no other words. But nothing happened to them. Nothing at all. I will say the prosecution dragged him over the coals. I will say that was kind of satisfying to watch. But nothing happened to them. No, poor Jenna. You know, the only real mother that child knew, that little boy knew. She was, of course, as you would imagine, devastated, absolutely devastated. And she fought. She went all the way to the Senate, which is obviously in America. I believe that's the equivalent of our House of Lords. And eventually there was a Senate enrolled Act 410, it's called, and it's called Judah's Law. And basically what that does, it gives more power to the foster carers or family members who are looking after these children. You know, there's a lot of cases like this where they try to keep them within the family. So it gives more power to those people or the foster carers to intervene in juvenile court proceedings. So basically it gives them the power to talk on behalf of a child, you know, that they are witnessing being hurt. So she pushed for that. She got that done. It's called Judah's Law, like I say. They also planted a tree with a plaque called Bubba. That's obviously what they used to call him. And his ashes were placed there, this tree, and it was in his favourite park that he loved to go to. And she did that. I mean, what she's basically said, it's actually heartbreaking to hear her talk, because she says, they say, if you see something, say something. Now, we all hear that, don't we? If you see something, say something. And you can hear the anger in her voice, because she says, well, I said something. I did say something. And she did. She tried. You know, I've had someone mention today saying, well, why did she hand him back if he was already coming back with bruises already? And it's so hard, because she could be put in prison. She's got 3 children. I don't know. I was saying this earlier when I was explaining it, and I found myself thinking, but would I? Would I hand that? And no, no. It's just such a hard situation. My heart breaks for this lady. It genuinely does. And she really tried for this little boy. She genuinely did. So I don't think she deserves some of the backlash that she received. You know, just keyboard warriors, etc. But I thought it was a little bit harsh. And Alan's brother, Dad's brother, you hear him talking about little Judah, and he says he was just the sweetest kid you'd ever meet. And he says he didn't want to believe that his brother had done that. He didn't. He says it just didn't seem like he would do that. He says, and then it was devastating to realise that he had done that. But I was a little bit confused. I suppose maybe he wasn't in constant contact with his brother, because he had a history of this. This had been going on previous to Judah even being born. So, you know, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm assuming maybe he didn't have a lot of contact with him. That's all I can think on that. But he got so upset when talking about Judah as well, because he had a relationship with the little fella. So it was just a heartbreaking case altogether, really was. And it's devastating that DCFS really, again, just like with Gabriel Fernandez, they never seem to get theirs, do they? And I don't know, is it because it's hard enough to get people into those job roles and they know they're under a lot of pressure, and it's not just, it wouldn't have just been Judah that his caseworker was looking after. She probably had about another 30, 40 children. They say they're, you know, they're under so much stress. You know, we saw it with I think it was Baby P's caseworker, or Victoria Climbier's. It might have been Victoria Climbier's. Probably both. But they're under so much stress because they're looking after so many children, and it's their supervisors and their supervisors that really need to, really need to be made an example of, I think. I don't believe it's the ones that are direct, although the ones that are directly working with a family, they're the ones that should see the most. It's really hard. It's really, really hard. But I do believe that they should have been made an example of in this case. I genuinely do. I do. I try and be fair as best I can, but I can't in this. I can't. I've tried. I can't. I just think there should have been something. There should have been some sort of example made. But that was the heartbreaking Judah Morgan story. I've wrecked your Thursday evening again, haven't I? Done it again. But I wanted to share it with you all because it was just so upsetting. These stories drive me crazy, and I do them because I think the more they're spoken about, and the more we do like to keep the little ones' names alive as well. But I think the more people that are aware that these things are going on, because I do honestly think that some people, unless you follow these sort of cases, you might not even be aware that these are so common. It happens so often. You might not even be aware of that. So that's why I do these stories. And I know that the children cases they're very hard to listen to. They're very hard to tell. But I do them for that reason. So, yeah. How are we all? How are we? Have we been doing in the chat? I haven't been following in the chat. I've managed to zone out tonight. So have we all been getting on? Are we all okay? Let's have a nose. What's been happening? What's been happening in the chat? Let's have a look. Did I see Ariane was here? Did I see Ariane was back? I'm pretty sure I did. Is she still in the chat? And if you are, where have you been, Ariane? We thought we'd lost you. I thought you'd given up on us all. If she's still there, is she still here? Oh, what was saying? The Arthur Labigno, yeah, that one. Awful. That's what I mean about these cases. And lockdowns seem to bring a lot of them out, didn't they? We seem to be a lot of monsters that were allowed to just have their way during lockdown. It's got a lot to answer to. A lot to answer for as lockdown. I hope in time to come there will be something. I mean, what can they do? It's all the damage is done, but maybe there's less. Well, but mind you, they always say, didn't someone say, was it Kelly who said the other day, or Hayley? Lessons will be learned. Lessons will be learned. Don't we always hear that? Lessons will be learned. It's all a lie. So you were okay. So Tiffany, I did see something out of the corner of my eye. But is she here? Is she here? Is she gone? Is she gone? I haven't seen her. Say hello if you're still here. Ariana, has she disappeared? How are we? I just don't know. I don't know what's been happening. I don't know what you've all been doing. Oh God, I've just messed up here. Right. We did good job. Yep. Help. What are you saying, help? What's the matter with you? What's going on with you? What else has been going on? Oh, so there's been no rows this evening. Well, that's always good. I'm glad when there's no rows. I'm glad about that. And when you're there, Warwick, who knows? Who knows what's about to happen? Who knows? Yes. Yes, people crying. I've just gone back a little bit. People screaming at children in public drives me crazy. Yeah. 100% agree with that. Oh, was you trying to say hello? Right. Okay. Hello. How are you, bro? I can't believe you're still here. I thought you'd have gone. Help. Not just anybody. Help. Say that. No, it's not. It's actually our brother, Warwick. That's our brother, that is. That's, yes. He's another one. There's another one. There's actually 5 of us. There's 5 of us, to be honest. So you will see one of them. Tiffany's obviously our regular. She's my admin. I can't lose Tiff. And then we do see them coming in, but hopefully Patrick will be joining us on a regular basis, hopefully. But yeah, I hope you've all been kind. I hope you've all been nice to everyone. Where is Ariane? Is she here? PJ, you've got PJ's nickname. You have to stay for my jingle as well, so don't go anywhere. Has she gone? Are you here, Ariane? I want to know. I want to know where you've been. I want to know. We've had a few come in tonight, haven't we? I noticed with the numbers, which is amazing. Always love to see. I'm just checking if there's. Oh, it's all me favourites all here. Go. Yeah, right. Okay, there's Ariane. But she hasn't spoken again. We tried, didn't we, Warwick? You've got 5, Kelly, have you? Yeah, our parents were cold, we believe, in the September, because 4 of them are all within 2 weeks of each other. You're always kind. Yes, you are. You're always kind, Phil. I know you are. Is it Warwick and Tiffany? Have you upset her again? Baby steps. You've upset her again, haven't you? Has she gone? There's one in April and the rest are all in May, Kelly. There you go. Part of the family. Yeah, you're all kind. I get that. I just want to know where she's gone. Did she mention where she's been? Or did she just pop in and go? I'm so curious. To know. No one did. I agree, Kelly. No one said anything. No, they didn't. It just tickled me a little bit. Wow. Well, okay, Ariane, go on. She's come back swinging. Go on. That's how you gotta be. That's the way you've gotta go. Go on, Ariane. Give them stick. There we go. You have to. Get that thick skin and take no notice. It's fine. We're all a family here and would never offend anybody. Yes. So that was a good one. I need to see if I'm impressed with that, Ariane. I'm glad you haven't left us all anyway. I'm really glad you haven't left us all. I thought you'd just been we're done with us all. I'd have been much love to Ariane. There you go, Warwick. You eat trolls. Yeah, I dare say you would, Tiffany. I dare say you would. Right, is it jingle time? Because I don't believe PJ's or Patrick's experienced the jingle. Don't be excited, bruv. Don't be excited. It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's something we all love. It's something to brighten up the evening. It is jingle time, Phil. That's exactly what it is. I look like a troll every morning. Got on the school run. You should see what this is on the school run in the mornings. I scare the life out of the children. I honestly do. Oh, I didn't know you were here as well. Wow, they're all in tonight. They're all in tonight. And don't close your eyes, PJ. You have to follow it. You have to see what this is. Okay. Jingle, 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 jingle. There's no music. There isn't actually any music. If you're expecting some sort of impressive outro now, where it comes across the screen, you're just going to be so disappointed. But you have to be part of it. Burst mattress in the morning. That's ace. I've never heard that. I'm taking that, Kelly. I have to take that now. I haven't heard that one. Okay, right. So, jingle time. So, if you are, yes, if you know anything about Patreon, if you're watching tomorrow, if you could possibly go in to patreon.com/JessRose5472. Not that I don't need you to do anything. I just need you to have a look at mine and just see. Only do it if you are already if you've got a Patreon. Not if you've got a Patreon. If you are subscribed to someone's Patreon. Have a look and see if it's the same as, see if mine looks like theirs. Not exactly. I know we all have to jiggle around, but just see if I've done it right. That's all I'll ask of you, if you can. And yes, and to everyone here or tomorrow, if you could possibly like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe, please. Oh God, I've got to breathe. I started off breathing. Like, comment and subscribe, guys, please. The thumbs are really, see, I have to paint my nails because I know how close, I know I've got to watch that blood pressure. It's terrible. And I wonder why I'm sweating. I'm wondering why I'm going all right. Like, comment, subscribe, guys, please. She did warn you, Pete, and you're here for it. Like, comment, and subscribe, everybody. The veins are popping. Everything's popping. It gets all really stressful. But it's like, comment, and subscribe. And P, if you're wondering what I'm actually doing, it's I didn't know how to ask people how to do it. And it started off like this. If you could like, comment, and subscribe. And it was all quite cute originally. So, kind of. And it's gone to this now. Like, comment, subscribe. And it's all very loud and red-faced. But if you could do that, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Banjo. We have one or two banjo people on here. I don't know what that is. I don't know where Ariane, where are you from? Is that a word where you are? I got trolls. I got that bit, but I didn't get a banjo. I'm not sure about that. But like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Please like, comment. Look at all the red nose and everything. Look at this. But that's the jingle. If you were waiting to see, right, is she going to do the jingle after this then? No, that's my jingle. That's what that is. That's what my jingle is. Like, comment, subscribe, guys. What's a banjo? I'll find out. Find out what a banjo is. Yes, that's Ariane. Curious Mind is Ariane. Yes. We couldn't. What's a banjo person? We couldn't keep calling her Curious Mind, and that's when we found out her name was Ariane. And there was a couple of people last week. There was a guy. They were ever so nice, weren't they? I don't know. They never came back though. And his name was Frank, weren't it? We ended up. See you later, Ariane. Thanks for coming back. I'm so glad you haven't been scared off. Thick skin. It's fine. We're all friends here. She's gone. Oh, bless her. She's not telling us what a banjo is. She doesn't want to share. Yes, we're glad you're back, Ariane. Absolutely. And yeah, so I'm so glad. How chuffed am I with tonight's group that we've had tonight? You've been amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you for sticking around. We're over an hour again. I always think when I do these stories, I think I'll try and get it to like 45 minutes, 50 minutes. It never happens. And then I ramble for the next 20 minutes. So thank you. Oh, don't forget it's, oh, Ariane, you're not, yeah, you're coming at the yeah. From Deliverance. Wow. Okay, right. It's all gonna go past. So I'm gonna let you all go in about 3 seconds. Yeah, it's all gonna go. Yeah, it's all gonna go a bit wrong now. So I'm gonna let you all go. But if you have a story that you want me to look at, don't forget Tuesday is Request Live Tuesday. So drop it in the messages, drop it on one of my posts, drop it on this video. Any requests you have, drop it in, and we can do it live here on Tuesday. So like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Have a fabulous weekend, guys. Mm, mm, mm. Whoa. Yeah, it is getting good, Kelly. I've got to go before it goes horribly wrong. Stop it now. Stop it now. Let's. Oh, right. I'm cutting off. We're going before it all goes wrong. I hope you all have a fabulous weekend. Like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. I've got to separate you all from the sisters because it's all gonna go wrong. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.